since 2K18, and as you can see, here is an error message that reads, "There's a problem with your connection to our online services. Please visit the following website for up-to-date information." A lot of people have been getting this exact same error, and what this means is that when this happens, all the rewards they could have earned from all the effort they put into a match, all of that's gone. And this seems to often happen like deep into a game or a match, which is especially frustrating. And keep in mind that this game is already pretty stingy with gameplay rewards, so to have issues like this that completely waste people's time that they put into a game or a match, that completely just deny them of rewards because the folks over at 2K couldn't get their shit together, yeah, that's causing plenty of ire. So much ire, in fact, that the hashtag #Fix2K20 is actually trending on Twitter. As you can see right here. Now, right now it's in the number 2 spot, but I took a screenshot from yesterday when this stuff was at number 1. So what does the hashtag entail? Well, we can already see right here that there are plenty of complaints. So a patch came out today, according to user 2K20 News, and on that front, here is what this Twitter user had to say. There was a 7GB patch for NBA 2K20 today, and all it did was slightly increase the park speed. It did not fix any of the main issues like 12-hour loading screens and frozen reputation. Fucking hell, 12-hour loading screens? So I guess this user right here wasn't exaggerating when he was talking about how he did all of these house chores and all of that took place during loading screens. That is actually pretty insane. Here's a video from an older basketball game entry, and it highlights how it has no problems whatsoever with keeping up with players' input so that people who are skilled enough actually score instead of, this bullshit right here where the user gets a green bar and every time he misses for whatever reason makes no sense. Here's a response that 2K provided to one Twitter user. It reads, "Hi Jesse, unfortunately I won't be able to provide any information about the reputation you've missed out on at this point of time. Once there will be any information about this, you will be able to read about it on our Twitter pages. You can keep playing if you wish, but unfortunately you won't be able to get the rep for the games whilst there is no permanent fix for the issue. If you might get the rep once the fix has been implemented, is, as I stated above, unfortunately unknown at this time. Kind regards, Robin from 2K Support." Here's another user who highlighted some of the major issues the game currently has. Number 1, badge progress not counting. Number 2, rep progress not counting. 3, overall progress not counting. 4, lag outs, error codes. 5, blue screens. So basically everything that makes NBA 2K20 function is broken at launch. It is an unplayable game at this stage. At least for people who, want to engage in a gameplay loop and a progression system. The progression system's broken. But hey, I'm sure you can at least still spend money on packs and stuff, right? I'm sure that stuff's been completely nailed because it is ultimately the most important aspect of NBA 2K. So yeah, I think you get the idea. This game is an utter disaster. So much so that Fix NBA 2K20 is actually trending on Twitter, beyond many other topics. Even the most hardcore fans are sick and tired of 2K's greed and laziness when it comes to this series. $60 they're charging players for the same game as last year, launched in a broken state, with the monetization slate wiped clean. Make no mistake, that's the main reason for why they re-release these sports games every year. So that everything you earned last year is wiped away, so that you have to start over again in terms of earning player cards and all of these rewards, so that you spend more money on top of the $60 that you're spending on what's basically a patch disguised as a new game. It doesn't get worse than this, folks. And this is on top of the gambling that's being advertised as kid-friendly. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
Website's blocked? No, it's not. Connect to a remote VPN server and bypass any content restrictions. Ultimate internet freedom on your mobile with NordVPN. Install and try for free.
There is no denying that Bethesda has been in something of a rough place this past year. It's just been one controversial release after another, from Fallout 76 to Elder Scrolls Blades to Wolfenstein Youngblood. But there is definitely one game that I'm kind of really interested in seeing how it all pans out, and that is Ghostwire Tokyo. The game was presented during E3 2019, and the only way I can describe it is that it looks like Japanese Lovecraftian. Here's the trailer. As you can see, it just looks really interesting. Now, this is a CGI trailer. We haven't seen any gameplay. We don't really know what the game looks like or what its gameplay is going to be like. But in terms of just the presentation aspect of it, I'm interested to see where Tango Games, run by Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil, I'm interested to see where they take this. I mean, these visuals are super bizarre, but super compelling. And freaking the music. I mean, this is real trippy stuff. Crap. Now I want to eat ramen. I'm probably going to eat ramen today. and charming. She is the creative director of Ghostwire. She's just so lovely, right? I mean, everyone loves her. I was just waiting for that. Okay. So, this is Ikumi Nakamura, the creative director of Tango, or the creative director of Ghostwire. She works at Tango. And, the internet absolutely fell in love with her on the day of. Everyone just loved her enthusiasm. I mean, there is this famous exit. And yeah, I mean, these tweets sort of speak for themselves. People saying they would die for her, how she's everybody's new crush. People just saying, I love Ikumi Nakamura, so on and so forth. But that brings us to some, what I would say is unfortunate news and bizarre news. Out of the blue, on September 4th, 2019, so 2 days ago, it was announced that Ikumi Nakamura is actually leaving Tango, leaving this Bethesda game, Ghostwire Tokyo, to pursue her next venture, whatever it may be. She hasn't really detailed what she's going to do next. The following information was relayed by Ikumi Nakamura herself in a string of tweets. It starts with the following statement: after 9 years as creative director and art director at Tango and ZeniMax, I felt here is one of ends of the journeys. I learned from the talented people I've worked with and I respect. Contact me if anyone wants to work with me. She then said, I do not want to forget appreciation and respect to everything. I've also decided to proceed to the new world. I can keep myself happy and somebody require me. Now the huge world is showing me infinite possibilities like an open world video game. Life is not linear. The entire world is kind of a very balanced puzzle. Don't miss even a small piece, I believe. Things are multifaceted. You might not believe something I believe. The reverse is also true. To somebody, everything that's happening in the world appears phony. Are you ready to hit the ground running? I'm always with you. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Many ZeniMax fellows have personally sayonara messaged me. Thank you so much. Hurricane 193 will land on ZeniMax at the end of this month. Its team should raise the security level to maximum. Can't stop me. Take care. Ha ha ha. Thank you for your comments. I responded to many followers in 2 days. Listening to your voice is a spice of life. Spice of my life. Oh, and I'm getting a little vacation now. Please do not worry. I'm being so sincere right now. And finally, everyone is thinking, is it conspiracies or the occult? Why this happened becomes even stronger, causing you to want to explore to find the answer. Unraveling truth, solving mysteries are rewarding. I'd like to compare answers with you guys someday. So, it's a very heartfelt farewell, and I do wish her the best of luck in her endeavors. But I do have to wonder exactly why all this happened. This just seems out of the blue for a game that's still early in its development or just starting to kick off development. This just seems so random for a game to lose its creative director, just like that. She talks about how she decided to proceed to the new world so she can keep herself happy and so she can feel as though somebody requires her, and she also expressed that to somebody everything that's happening in the world appears phony. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know if there's some stuff here that's being lost in translation. I don't want to look too much into it before we actually get some information as to what might have happened. Maybe she left because she found new opportunities and she said farewell and somebody else took over and the game's still in good hands. Or maybe some stuff happened behind the scenes that we don't know about that led to her departure, despite the amazing reception that Ghostwire got, despite how happy people were about her presentation and the fact that she is creative director. It's just a strange circumstance. As for what the future holds for this game, Ghostwire, it is hard to say. I mean, the trailer itself does look awesome, but it is just a concept trailer. know nothing about its gameplay. We don't know how far along the development truly is. We don't know how much of an impact Ikumi's departure will have on the project. But in the past, I've noticed that anytime a creative director leaves in the middle of a project, that marks some kind of major shift in development, some kind of reboot, or some kind of drastic change in direction, and I'm wondering if that's going to happen with this title. Welcome to 888 Sports. You've come to the right place. Because we haven't seen anything of the actual game, we're not really going to see what those changes might entail. Hopefully, at the very least, the vibe of this trailer is maintained, this Lovecraftian, Japanese, monster, creepypasta type of thing. Now, Bethesda actually responded to website Polygon when they were inquired about this whole situation. As Polygon notes here, it's also unclear where that leaves the team at Tango working on Ghostwire Tokyo. So, nothing's known about what's going on behind the scenes, who the new creative director is, what the direction of the game is now, whether this changes anything drastically in terms of the game's direction. And Bethesda said, "We can confirm that Nakamura-san has decided to leave Tango, and we wish her the best of luck in whatever is next for her. Tango continues to be led by the legendary Shinji Mikami and his talented team in the development of Ghostwire Tokyo. We look forward to sharing more on what they're creating in the coming months." So from the looks of it, it's Nakamura who decided to leave herself. She wasn't fired or pressured to go, I believe, from the circumstances that I'm seeing here based on Nakamura's messages and Bethesda's statement. And Shinji Mikami's still heavily involved, which goes without saying. He's the lead on Tango. But other than that, they're just saying look forward to more in the coming months, but no details as to what this all ultimately means for the game. Yeah, I'm really sad about this. Not only is Ikumi Nakamura just an incredibly charming figure, not only did she win the heart of the internet, but she also seemed like someone who was trying something really unique, at least based on the visuals seen in this trailer. There's just something really compelling about these creatures, these Japanese horror Lovecraftian creatures that kind of immediately drew me, even though I have no clue what the game even really is. Yeah, I hope that the integrity of this game is still intact. I hope that this doesn't spell trouble for a game that has compelled so many people, for a Bethesda game that seems to have some semblance of potential, for a Tango game that really just seems to take their love for horror into this very interesting new place. I mean, The Evil Within, I think a lot of people appreciated that series, and Ghostwire seems to be like a great next step. So I'm wishing the team the best of luck. Here's hoping that it all pans out in the end. And to Ikumi Nakamura, I say thank you for giving the internet something so amazing to smile about, both your personality as well as this game that raised a lot of eyebrows at E3 amidst various other presentations that were more kind of what you normally expect. Ghostwire was definitely unexpected for all the right reasons. And I don't know, I hope Ikumi finds a place in the games industry, somewhere she will love to work and somewhere where she can really express her creativity. Because based on what I saw with Ghostwire alone, I think she has a lot to offer. Just based on the concept trailer that we're seeing here, I'm digging where she wanted to take this game, and hopefully her vision is kept intact in some way when the game finally launches. Anyway, there you have it, folks. I'd love to hear what your thoughts thoughts are on Ikumi's departure and what this means for this particular game, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out. There are moments in the video games industry in which a game publisher says something so utterly moronic and stupid that it becomes memorialized forevermore. And I don't have to tell you that EA's sense of pride and accomplishment, Reddit response, will forever live in our hearts to constantly remind us how full of crap this game publisher is. Now, EA, I'm sure they're hoping that people will eventually forget that this comment ever happened, because it is a point of great shame for the company. But this whole debacle has cropped up once more, thanks to the Guinness World Records. Turns out they're paying attention to what's going on in Reddit, and they've actually gone ahead and memorialized EA's Reddit comment, which currently stands and still maintains its record for most downvoted comment in Reddit history. The following information was relayed on Reddit. As you can see right here, a user posted a screenshot of the most recent iteration of the book, and there's a section entirely dedicated to Electronic Arts. This excerpt reads as follows. Most downvoted comment on Reddit. An official post by video games publisher Electronic Arts responding to players' complaints about having to unlock characters such as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017 through loot boxes has 683,000 downvotes. Now, just as impressive, if you ask me, is the fact that this Reddit post, which was published yesterday on September 6th, alone managed to accrue 86.4 thousand upvotes in like a day, essentially. Less than a day. Just for highlighting this fact right here. And this isn't just the Star Wars Battlefront subreddit, this is the official Star Wars subreddit with 1.1 million members. And right now, this post right here is the top post. So people still remember what happened with Battlefront. Hardcore gamers and Star Wars fans alike. And this is a situation that even a lot of casual gamers know about because it made such a huge splash. So this page right here lists all of the most downvoted comments in Reddit history. And as you can see, the comment from EA stands miles below everything else. The next most downvoted comment in Reddit is negative 88,000, almost negative 89,000. EA's comment has 600,000 more downvotes than the second most downvoted comment. Yeah, I don't think this is a record anyone's gonna beat anytime soon. Then again, EA is known for their stupidity, their utterly moronic BS. So who's to say that they won't outdo themselves? We have seen them do it time and again, so it is not an impossibility. So for those who aren't too familiar with this story, it all began when people noticed during the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta that it takes a ridiculous amount of time to unlock so much as a single hero. So if we scroll down here, we can see a too long didn't read segment that summarizes all the calculations made here. It all bogs down to, quote, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are locked when you first open the game. They cost 60,000 credits each to be able to play as either of them. Earning that amount of credits just by playing will take you 40 hours. Now that's 40 hours each, so to unlock both of them, it would take you 80 hours. And I actually made a video about this a long time back. As you can see, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, 60,000 a pop. Leia Morgana, 40,000. Emperor Palpatine, 40,000. Iden Versio, 20,000. And Chewbacca, 40,000. So all of the original iconic characters 30,000, that's 40 hours. 40,000, that's like 25 hours. And 20,000, I believe that's about 13 hours. So we're talking over 100 hours to unlock all of these characters. Most of them icons of Star Wars, and these aren't just skins. And even if they were just skins, this would be ridiculous, but we are talking about gameplay elements, allowing you to play as Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader and use their unique abilities in a match. Now eventually EA did, after Backlash, reduce those numbers down to a quarter of their original price point, so 60,000 became 15,000, 40,000 became 10,000, and 20,000 became 5,000. So 40 hours became 10 hours, so on and so forth. But by then it was too little too late, and not to mention people still felt as though Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and all of these iconic characters shouldn't be locked at all in the first place behind any kind of grind wall. And that ultimately led to this post. This Reddit post right here, which has a place in games history now. It has over 164,000 upvotes, and it reads, "Seriously, I paid $80 to have Vader locked?" Indeed, keep in mind that some people paid for these more advanced editions that cost more than $60, and EA's response to that was, "The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rate on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course, attainable via gameplay." So that's an excuse that a lot of game publishers like to use. They'll tell you, well, you can technically earn this stuff via gameplay. Yeah, except in order to do so, you basically have to make the monetized game a second job, essentially. You have to play like 10 hours every day in order to unlock some of this stuff at a reasonable pace. It is just, from a time standpoint, in terms of the average Joe, not reasonable. Because the average Joe doesn't have time to spend 10 hours every day on a single game. They have a life. There are plenty of great posts here that shut down EA's awful excuse of a justification. So one comment reads, "That's rich, just be honest. The truth is, very few people are going to sink a full work week into this game, and you're hoping that somebody is desperate enough to buy credits to unlock the character. It has nothing to do with providing a sense of pride and accomplishment. This is a flat-out lie, and you know it. How naive do you think your player base is? How naive does EA think the average human being is?" Another post responded, "Not good enough. Also, there is no pride with wasting 40 hours grinding for a hero only for the hero to be gimped from the go and require 300 more hours of grinding to make them heroic. You're just pushing the system to incentivize spending and for no other reason." Another user responded with, "Nope, that's not the reason. The real reason is that they want you to spend all your credits towards heroes so you won't be able to buy that many loot boxes with them, basically making the grind for loot that much harder and forcing players to choose between unlocking the main character of the Star Wars movies or getting star cards. They want you to use all your credits so you buy loot boxes. Sorry that the community sees right through the bullshit you're attempting to pass on us." And by the way, these comments all gained tons of traction. This one alone has 22,000 upvotes. This one right here, 13,000 upvotes. This one almost 20,000 upvotes. And there is more. This one has 32,000 upvotes. Come on, it's Luke and Darth Vader in a Star Wars game. Why on earth would you lock them? And then a user with 22,000 upvotes responded with, "If the unlock took maybe 2 to 4 hours, that would be fine. But this is essentially saying you don't need to pay, but if you don't, good luck." That's exactly right. If you don't pay, you're going to have an insufferable time with this title. This comment has almost 13,000 upvotes, and it reads, "I think the main concern out of anything is that you're charging £69.99 for a game that half the features are locked behind a paywall. I know you're going to say you can earn it, but 2 days to earn a hero which can be bought in 2 minutes pretty much counts as being locked behind a paywall." And then this user with 10,000 upvotes said 2 days worth of gameplay, not just playing a bit for 2 days. That's 48 hours, so if you just play like 3 hours a day, it would take 16 days to unlock Vader. Not all the heroes, just Vader. That's fucking bullshit. And then if you add Luke Skywalker on top of that, that's 32 days if you play 3 hours every day, so on and so forth. So all of these comments do a great job of highlighting the issue with EA's moronic sense of pride and accomplishment argument here. They do a great job of calling out the bullshit that was Star Wars Battlefront 2 at launch and during the beta. Now after that whole debacle played out, EA proceeded by continuing with their piss-poor justifications. EA CFO Blake Jorgensen said back in November 28, 2017, that the reason they went with pay-to-win instead of cosmetics is because, quote, the one thing we're very focused on, and they're extremely focused on, is not violating the canon of Star Wars. Yeah, this is in a Star Wars video game where they take characters and settings from multiple movies spanning multiple generations and shoving them all together. So if you did a bunch of cosmetic things, you might start to violate the canon. Darth Vader in white probably doesn't make sense versus in black. Not to mention you probably don't want Darth Vader in pink. No offense to pink, but I don't think that's right in the canon. First of all, nobody would give a shit if you actually introduced a white Darth Vader or pink Darth Vader in a game like Battlefront, where canon doesn't really even matter. Secondly, there's plenty of cosmetic elements to draw from in the expansive Star Wars universe to make a monetization system that strictly focuses on cosmetics without going too out there like with a pink Darth Vader. And EA knew this too, given that shortly after Blake Jorgensen's statement on not violating the canon, it was leaked that Star Wars Battlefront 2 has a hidden character customization system. And fast forward to today, and now all the microtransactions in Battlefront 2 focus strictly on cosmetics. So cosmetic-only microtransactions was always feasible with Battlefront 2. This is just EA playing coy, pretending like going pure cosmetics was this big deal to try to justify their pay-to-win antics. But it didn't work, obviously. You know, the average gamer, the average person with common sense could see clearly that EA was full of shit. Since the Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot box controversy, EA has tried to insist that they'll strive to do better, that they've learned from their mistakes, like in this article from April 13th, 2018 from news outlet The Verge. At the time, Patrick Soderlund said this: "We had the intent that was designed for us to have more people play it over a long period of time, and like a lot of other games on the market, to be able to afford to do that, we had an idea of getting returns from that, but at the same time, we got it wrong. We have to take action and show people that we're serious about building the best possible products, that we're serious about treating the players fair, and we're here to make the best possible entertainment that we can. And in the cases where we don't get it right, we just have to listen and learn from it and be better. Learn from it and be better." Right. Tell that to Anthem, a product that you rushed out knowing full well that it was in an unpolished state. Tell that to the FIFA franchise with its 1.7 user score. A result of this series having evolved into a casino with a soccer game on the side. Its main focus now is Ultimate Team and its card packs, which are just straight up gambling. And with every new release, it's just a half step forward. Not even a half step, a quarter step forward. They introduce these new FIFA games. Like each year, they're revolutionizing the soccer genre in video games, but it's just the same game every year with the gambling stuff evolved further and further. That's the thing about this whole debacle. People would be able to forget if EA showed tangible signs of improving, of changing, of becoming better. But they're the same company that they were back in 2017, back when they talked about a sense of pride and accomplishment. This is a company that continues to be a repeat offender. They've done nothing to garner trust. I'm glad that this, making the Guinness World Records, can garner 86,000 upvotes in less than a day. because this stuff deserves this kind of scrutiny. It continues to deserve this kind of scrutiny because EA has not changed. EA continuously needs to be reminded of their disgraceful past and their disgraceful present. Until they change, until they truly become better, until they actually put their boilerplate statements and their fake sentiments into tangible action, until their vows to do better actually come to fruition, yeah, this is going to continue to be brought up. This is going to stay a topic of discussion and something that people will continue to look back at to remind themselves why Electronic Arts is a company that is not to be trusted. Or at least these are one man's take on all of this. I'd love to hear what your take is on Electronic Arts making the Guinness World Records in the comments below. I would say that EA certainly feels that sense of pride and accomplishment now. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
All day long. Morning tonight. 24-hour wear. It conceals. Bad vibes. It's buildable. Breathable. Defies and resists. Sweat. Heat. Humidity. Right through. Makes me feel impeccable. Unstoppable. Ready for anything. Designed for me. And me. And her. Revlon color stain. Skin perfection that lasts. That never lets me down. Revlon. Live boldly.
So over the last year, we have heard plenty of opinions in terms of what people think about Epic Game Store exclusivity deals. We have heard from enthusiasts, we have heard from developers, and opinions are quite varied and pretty split on numerous fronts. On one hand, Epic does help fund indie developers in particular who could use the money, which is great. On the other hand, Epic Game Store is inferior compared to, say, Steam, and Epic buying out exclusives means that people have to use this inferior launcher to run their games, which is not ideal for a lot of people who do enjoy the suite of features that comes with Steam. Another developer who chimed in recently goes by the name Tommy Reffins, and he is a co-creator for the Super Meat Boy franchise, which I think many of you will be familiar with. And this headline from website Destructoid reads, Tommy Reffins calls Epic Game Store exclusivity deal a total no-brainer. So he elaborated further. This is an interview conducted during PAX West by Destructoid with Tommy Reffins, and here is exactly what he had to say on that front. They told me they want Super Meat Boy Forever, which is an upcoming new entry from the franchise, on the Epic Game Store, but it would be a year exclusive. At first, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Then they said they would guarantee our sales. Even then, I'm kind of like, I don't even know what to ask for, so run the numbers and tell me what you would offer. They did, and I was like, yes, it was a total no-brainer. After I got the numbers, the level of fear of not launching on Steam for PC was immediately alleviated. Destructoid then talked about how the Epic Game Store exclusivity deals mitigates the risk of a indie developer going under if their game doesn't sell well, because Epic's funding essentially provides means for indie developers to survive beyond this present game release, even if it doesn't perform as well as they would have liked to. And on that, Reference said this, that's huge. That's huge for anyone in any industry to be like, when you get done with your work, you're definitely going to make this much. I don't know who wouldn't take that deal. Reference also talked about the extra layer of support that his game has gotten, especially in terms of marketing. As Destructoid pointed out here, quote, the promotion that Super Meat Boy Forever has received is something that generally doesn't happen without a major publisher's backing. Revens added, we announced at the Game Awards, and these are things that I'm not going to get anywhere else. To actually have Meat Boy on the screen at the Game Awards is nuts. From there, he proceeded to talk about the pushback and backlash from consumers in regards to Epic Games Store exclusivity, especially for titles that have been announced for Steam and then have the rug pulled at the last minute. About that, he had this to say. Gaming is a super important thing to a lot of people. It's a part of their lives. When something comes up and challenges that, it's completely reasonable for the reaction to kind of assume the worst is going to happen. I can see the passion of having something that's near and dear to you change and being averse to that change. I was completely expecting that, and I was completely expecting people to bring up 10-cent stuff. What's unfortunate is that the concerns of some people are reasonable. You have people who are like, it's not that great of a store or whatever, but then you have the wild bullshit of Chinese spyware conspiracy theory crap. It's like, okay, you people shut up because the people who have actual concerns are being drowned out, and I think it's a shame they all get lumped together. And then he concluded with, I feel like people are going to buy games on PC because that's what we have done. Steam is a way to buy games, but it's not the only place that sells them, and it's not the only place.
We're electrifying insurance. Covers specifically designed for the next generation of cars. Recovery if you run out of charge in the UK. Cables and wall boxes covered as standard. It's on at lv.com. What's he doing there?
Fast delivery, video and music for $7.99 a month. Amazon Prime.
That's successful. So first things first, I will say that Revens does empathize with people who do have issues with the Epic Games Store, which is good to see. They didn't pull an ooblets and dismiss all the concerns that are out there in regards to the Epic Games Store and talk about how there are greater issues out there like climate change and human rights abuse. Revens didn't take that route. He actually said, hey, there are people out there giving out tangible feedback and criticisms. So it's good to see that he's kind of being sympathetic towards people who do have issues and isn't just saying that stuff doesn't matter. And he is also an indie developer, so I think it is understandable that he would accept a deal that assures some semblance of financial security for his game should it not sell as well as maybe he'd like to, though obviously that remains to be seen. Now, worth noting about Super Meat Boy Forever is that, as you can see from this trailer back in 2017, it was originally supposed to release on Steam before he took the Epic exclusivity deal. So that's something that a lot of people aren't too happy about. This switcheroo, it's one thing if, an indie developer's upfront about their intent to sell their game on Epic and explain why they have to do that, talk about their financial situation, and kind of make it a two-way street in which they really communicate with their community and tell them what's going on. Not sure what the overall sentiment is with Super Meat Boy. What I do know is that unlike the original platformer, this game right here is more of an automatic running type of experience, a mobile runner type of game, and it's going to come out on all the major consoles alongside mobile platforms. So yeah, it's just an automatic runner type game, which isn't what a lot of people, I don't think, want out of Super Meat Boy, but who knows, it could be fun. But yeah, as you can see, it's coming out on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and it was coming out on Steam, but now in newer trailers you'll see that it's listed as an Epic Store exclusive. So that is something to consider for people who might have been waiting on Steam. They're out of luck now, they're going to have to wait a year and what have you. And Revens here isn't saying that people who might be upset about that aspect, he's not saying that stuff isn't unjustified, he's just saying that the deal he was offered as an indie developer especially was a no-brainer for his situation because it offered financial security and he isn't supported by this major publisher or anything. So I get where he's coming from. I will say that. Now he says right here that I don't know who wouldn't take that deal, but there's actually plenty of developers who have decided to refuse Epic exclusivity for a wide variety of reasons. So obviously, the Dark developer story is sort of the big one. This is a developer that saw their game was wishlisted on Steam quite a bit. It was, quote, top 50 most wishlisted games on Steam, and he had not long prior to being contacted about the potential of Epic exclusivity, he had released a trailer saying that this game is coming out on Steam, and he felt as though it would be a betrayal to suddenly pull the rug from under people, from under Steam users who have been looking forward to this game and say, you're going to have to wait a year, which is why he decided to reject the deal. He said, when thinking long term, however, this is the Dark developer, this was an easy and obvious decision to make in my case. So for the Super Meat Boy developer, this Epic deal taking the money was a no-brainer. For the Dark developer, not taking the money and thinking long term in terms of consumer goodwill, that was a no-brainer. So different takes on the same issue. More recently, Bandai Namco, a major publisher, they basically talked about how going Epic exclusive isn't within their vision and future plans. Here's exactly what Bandai Namco had to say on that matter. The main focus for us is the consumer and the brand, and for each brand we decide what's the best way to satisfy the consumer and to engage the widest audience possible. So for instance, I don't see any point of putting Tekken 7, pictured above, on Epic Store. Epic is just another store. It's fantastic. They have a lot of strength and lots of users. The business model is attractive to us because it's more profitable, but still, their interest is, if I'm correct, exclusivity, and this is not our vision. We want our content to be available for as many fans as possible. I don't think we'll deal with Epic in the short term while we have this strategy. But of course, if they're open, we'll go there. And by open, I'm assuming they're talking about if they are willing to non-exclusively host Bandai Namco games, they'll go right ahead and release their games on both Epic and Steam. Another developer who's adamant about not taking Epic's deal is Relogic, which is the developer for Factorio. This is a tweet from one of the developers there. She said, since there seems to be confusion, no Relogic title will ever be an Epic exclusive. There is no amount of money we could be offered to sell our souls. Now this tweet did get a bit of backlash from developers because it seems to suggest that anyone who takes the Epic exclusivity deal is selling their soul. So a few developers, indie developers who took the deal because they had to, said, hey, that seems a little harsh. And the response to that was, for us it would be, and I was speaking for us, I can understand indies taking advantage of free money. So basically she's saying that in our situation, us as Relogic who are in a good position, if we were to go Epic exclusive, we specifically would be selling our souls by going Epic exclusive, especially given what a huge community they've kind of garnered on Steam, and given they're in a good financial position. So they are in a situation where they don't have to go Epic exclusive, so they're deciding not to do so despite the extra money they might earn by doing so. So that I think is commendable, and this is their situation specifically. The Super Meat Boy developer says, I don't know who wouldn't take that deal. Turns out plenty of developers would not take that deal. And CD Projekt Red, they aren't going exclusive. They've said in the past, we're definitely not going to do that. So there are plenty of developers out there who understand consumers' frustrations towards the way Epic is handling this whole situation, the way they're going about securing exclusives when their store is far from being in an ideal state. For developers who are in a place where they can do this and who feel like long-term goodwill from consumers and offering players choice is the main thing to focus on, they're saying no to Epic exclusivity. But again, it depends on a developer situation. Even the Ooblets developers, I understand that maybe they were in a situation where they might have had to take this deal in order to feel a sense of financial security. The mistake they made was the way they condescended people who have genuine concerns about Epic and kind of downplayed all of their concerns. that's what they really screwed up on. At the very least, the Super Meat Boy developers in doing that, as he says here, he's talking about how concerns some people have are reasonable, etc., etc. So yeah, make of that what you will. Another perspective on Epic Game Store exclusivity. I'd love to hear what your take is on Tommy Refn's stance on all of this in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out. Those who've been following the video games industry will know that game publishers will often give out these misleading statements about the way they intend to monetize their game, and that leads to a game being one way at launch, seemingly innocent, and then evolving into something much more egregious down the line. And I get the sense that this is exactly what will happen with this new mode